it just will stop me dead. A very disturbing phone call from a very good friend who's deep inside the political system, and it literally asked my wife. I was eating supper and I almost threw up. It was very, very disturbing. And the things, that the trajectory we're on here, it just will stop me dead. And so this is the reason I'm here today, is because we're in a lot of trouble if we don't stand up. So the question is are we in a crisis with our hospitals right now? I worked, what day is it? I have no idea when I worked last. I've worked every night this week almost. And so my last shift was very slow. There's been slow and quick days, but it's definitely slowed down. If you look at, so I got one of my friends to send me the numbers from the U of A last night, and the day before our lockdown, I texted one of my political friends and I said, oh, we must be heading in a lockdown because the numbers are starting to droop. As soon as they droop, they put us in lockdown, so it looks like the lockdown fixed everything. And they've done this every time, and I know because I see the numbers. And so you know that if you're into 1.5 days or 2 days of a droop, you're going to have a lockdown, because if it gets better, then of course it fixed it. So I looked in the U of A numbers, at definitely 3 days they've been trending down. And my last shift, I had 0 patients for about 3 hours. And so I chit-chatted, it seems it was probably my last day. So, I don't go on social media, I don't listen to the news, I don't watch television, I don't do any of that nonsense. And I don't look at NHS data, because it has actually 0 effect on who I'm going to see next. I'm going to treat the next person that texts me or comes into my department, and I really don't care how many were there before them. And no, I've never had a problem. The only reason I can't get to see people in my department, and I have to be careful what I say, because I'm glad Derek's a lawyer here. So just hit me if I say something I shouldn't. So about 6 years ago, we had a government come in, and about 2 years into their mandate, they started cutting back nurse positions in our department. And if you remember, at the Red Deer Advocate, there was a big story how the world was falling apart. And actually, I was the head of the department at the time, so I wrote a little op-ed or whatever, and they messed it all up and printed what they wanted. So we, as a department, wrote a letter back, and they did that was last week. We're not really interested anymore, so they never printed their actual true story. And we had to redirect people out of the hospital to other little hospitals, and we're the intake hospital for Central Zone. You can't do that. You can't send a heart attack to look home. They send them to us. But this is what we're doing, and it's because we had no staff. So as I say, I got 55 positions, 55 spots in that department. Every night at 11:30 we close 17 of them because we don't have enough money, staff, or whatever it is. And then if I have 20 admitted patients, because I can't get them out of my department in the hospital because the hospital is full, and the hospital is full because I can't get them out of the hospital because I can't send them anywhere because we have no support at home. So they end up in the hospital for days or years, and then they back up into my department. So if I have 20 admitted patients, I have 55 to start with, I take 17 away, I'm at 38, I think, right? And I take 20 out of that, I'm not down to 18 beds. It takes me 5 hours to run through the average patient. You do the math, I have 4 doctors standing there, I can see 3 patients an hour times 4 doctors. I can see that in an hour, but I can't, because they take 5 hours to run. So that's why you get a 5-hour wait, because I have nowhere to see you. So it has nothing to do with COVID. It's been going on for 6 years, and it was created. And we have a crisis. And we have a crisis because we have no staff, because our staff quit because they're burned out. They're not burned out from COVID. But I had a staff come up to me last night that was working with me since I got there as a resident in 2000 forever. And she's been there for 30 years. She quit last night. She was crying. She's a very senior nurse. And she said, I'm packing up my locker tonight. I'm not telling anybody, and I'm done. She said, one of your colleagues called me a waste of skin because I'm not vaccinated. So this is somebody who worked there for 18 months, unvaccinated, not afraid, unvaccinated, front lines, who walked out of there last night. That was my last night too, probably last night. And because my colleagues called her a waste of skin because she would get vaccinated. That's the crisis we have. I got an email text last night from a person